Never miss another fabulous cultural event in Cotacachi just because you can't speak Spanish. In other words, tells you everything you need to know about life in Cotacachi. And here is our host, Deborah May.
Welcome to, in other words, the only English language program on public radio in the Cotacachi area. I'm your host, Deborah May. Aijujakta kunapimi riksiwan mama urku shutiwan. Of course, the big event in Cotacachi this week is the celebration of IIInty Raymi and the taking of the plaza during Hatun Punja by the indigenous dancers and musicians. So in today's interview segment, Apauki Flores and Apak Perugachi will talk about the symbolism of the dancers' fur chaps, the clothing and hats that they wear during the taking of Matriz Square, the warrior tradition of the men's dance, the reason that dancers are segregated by age and gender, how indigenous communities decided to respond to last year's incidents of violence during the dance, and how the dancers feel about mestizos and foreigners joining in their ritual dance. Also, in honor of IIInty Raymi, today's Kichwa language lesson is a replay that covers the meaning of many words and phrases that are chanted by the dancers. And today's music selection is an IIInty Raymi tune played by a local band. So stay tuned to, in other words, to learn more in English about the history, language, cultural significance, and traditions of IIInty Raymi as it is celebrated here in Cotacachi this week.
Find out about the local events in Cotacachi before they happen on What's Going On.
What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's
going on? Okay, so what else is going on this week in Cotacachi? There is a special photo exhibit capturing images of resistance to mining company activities in the region. The exposition is called Territorios Libres, or Free Territories of Ecuador, a chronicle of their possible disappearance. The exhibit has been extended at least through the end of June, and the organizers of the exhibit give us this message. Come, we are open, we want your opinion, your feelings. Come, choose your path toward light or darkness, and light a candle so that our territories can continue to be nests of life. That's at the Museo de las Culturas, now through July. Some English-speaking tourists may be glad to learn that there's a 12-step meeting held in English this Wednesday and every Wednesday from 1:45 to 2:45 at the intersection of Leather Street, 10 de Agosto, and Bolivar, in the red building on the corner. Just go through the iron gates and up to the second floor to the end of the hall for the meeting. Tomorrow at 2 o'clock, IIIInty will present the film A United Kingdom. This movie is based on true events from 1947 when the proposed interracial marriage of the King of Botswana and a London office worker was opposed not only by their own families, but also by the British and South African governments under the new policy of apartheid at that time. Now, please note there'll be no film showing at IIInty next Saturday, June 30th, but this week you can catch A United Kingdom there at 2 o'clock. Before heading out to the movies, how about stopping at Kalua Coffee and Tea on Pedro Mancayo, just a few steps from Leather Street. Kalua has great coffee from Intag and hearty sandwiches served on fresh baguettes. Now, they're open 7 days a week, and breakfast starts at 9. Kalua Coffee and Tea. In other words, airs live on public radio in Cotacachi every Friday at 4. So it looks like starting sometime in July, listeners finally may be able to listen to the live programs they missed, something that wasn't possible in the past. And that's because, in other words, program sponsors, Deb and Dan from Cuckoo's Nest, they paid local computer wizard James Scarberry to consult with the radio station manager here to find the easiest and most affordable way to archive live programs. So I heard that James had to do some pretty fancy computer programming work to create a solution everyone's happy with. Looks like future episodes of this program as well as the past language lessons and recorded interviews with local celebrities, will be available online soon. I'll put up a notice on our Facebook group page, in other words, as soon as our programs do become available online, and I hope that's soon. Wolf Puppy Dog Grooming wants you to know that Wolf Puppy Dog Grooming and Pet Shop of Cotacachi gently bathes and grooms your dog so he looks great and feels great too. And at Wolf Puppy, you'll find high-quality pet food and accessories for every kind of pet. So visit them at the corner of Pedro Moncayo near Matriz Park and check out their Facebook page, Wolf Puppy. That's WOOF, Wolf Puppy. So let's talk now about the big event in Cotacachi this week as Raymi celebrations become more visible to expats and tourists with the traditional taking of the square at Matriz Park. Today, the indigenous Wawakuna, the children, danced in the city streets and in the park between Matriz Church and the city municipal building. On Sunday, June 24th, indigenous men will dance into the city sometime between 10 o'clock and noon, depending on who I'm talking to, sometime between 10 and noon, from their communities to take the square, Tomar la Plaza, for 2 days, Sunday and Monday. And I have to say, having witnessed Raymi in the past, that the energy that comes when the men first arrive on the first day into the square is just utterly amazing. It's fantastic. So if you can be there when they first come from their communities on that first day, you will be richly rewarded. After occupying the square for 2 days, Sunday and Monday, they go home to rest for a few days, and they return again to dance on the evening of June 28th. The men also will dance in Matriz Square all of June 29th and June 30th. Now, the women dance on July 1st, and that marks the end of public celebrations of Raymi in the city of Cotacachi. But note, other cities in the region celebrate Hatumpunja at other times and with different traditions. So I will post notices for these other cities and their Raymi events, as well as all the other events that come to my attention on my Facebook page, which is called In Other Words. That's the Facebook page for the program. Anyone can join. Just a reminder, there's no fee. It doesn't cost anything to observe any of these public celebrations of Raymi. Non-participants who want to observe this ancient indigenous celebration respectfully and safely should just use the same manners and common sense they would use while attending a large public event in their own country. Remember, pickpockets love to work any large public gathering, so don't bring valuables or lots of cash with you to the park. Monday is a holiday in Cotacachi, so government offices and many businesses will be closed in the province. The La Quadra Hostal will be open during Hatumpunja, but the cafe will be open only in the mornings on the days that the dancers celebrate in nearby Matriz Square. But remember, you'll feel right at home at La Quadra Hostal, enjoying their relaxed and comfortable family atmosphere. They're located in the center of Cotacachi, just half a block from Matriz Park on Modesta Penherrera. So to make reservations, please call 06-291-6015. I'm sure Jairo will be happy if you make conversation as well, but to make reservations, call 06-291-6015.
And now it's time to learn a few words in Kichwa. Mama Urku and Apak Perugachi speak Kichwapi.
Welcome to another Kichwa lesson. I am Mama Urku, and I'm here with Apak Perugachi, who teaches Kichwa to Spanish-speaking students and is a local tour guide specializing in the identification and use of medicinal plants. He's also a lecturer on the importance of the Kichwa language, as well as Andean spiritual traditions. We have a real treat for you today. Raymi is coming up shortly in the month of June, and anyone who has observed the dancing of the men during Raymi have heard Kichwa words being chanted, but most of us have no idea at all what is it that they're saying. And we are so lucky to have Apak here, who's going to tell us some of these chants and what they mean. So let's start with the first one.
Kaipimi kanchik, kaipimi kanchik.
And kaipimi kanchik simply means we are here. We are here. It's announcing we are here. Can you say that again, please?
Kaipimi kanchik, kaipimi kanchik.
Okay. Another phrase that you'll hear a lot during Indy Raymi will be
Runa kuna. Runa kuna.
and this simply means people. People. Possibly loosely, we are the people or the people, but runakuna means people. Can you say that again for us?
Runa kuna. Runa kuna.
Okay, and because it is the men that will be dancing first on June 24th and 25th, they also are announcing that they are men, and they do this by saying,
Hari kuna. Hari kuna.
so when you hear harikuna, they are saying men. Here's a really interesting one,
Riku wangi. Riku wangi.
and that just means look at me. Look at me. Again, we are here, kaipi mi kanchik. Look at me.
Riku wangi.
Riku wangi. Okay. Probably the most popular chant, the one that I hear most often is,
Chaki, chaki, chaki.
and chaki, they're simply saying foot, because their feet are stomping on the ground as they dance, and they're celebrating that action. So one more time.
Chaki, chaki, chaki.
Okay, here's an interesting one.
Sarun chigma. Sarun chigma.
And the best translation of that, it's not literal, but it basically means make way, we are coming, get out of the way. So one more time.
Sarun chigma.
Another phrase that sometimes is heard is,
Ayakuna.
and ayakuna means we are spirits and we are with spirits. So again,
Ayakuna.
and a final chant that we have here for you would be,
Na manjanju.
and namajanju means no fear. And we hear that often in English in different situations, but they're letting you know several things here. They are saying, we are here, we are people, we are men, look at me, foot, and that's about the action of the foot on the earth, make way, we are spirits and with spirits, no fear. And I'm going to let Apak tell you all these words one more time.
Kaipi mi kanchik. Kaipi mi kanchik. Runa kuna. Runa kuna. Hari kuna. Hari kuna. Riku wangi. Riku wangi. Chaki chaki. Chaki chaki. Sarun chigma. Ayakuna. Ayakuna. Na manjanju. Na manjanju.
Okay, now you know all the chants that you'll hear at Indy Raymi, and you can enjoy telling your friends that you know what they mean. I want to remind listeners that everything you've just learned today, you can study by going to our Facebook group page, in other words, or our program page on Radio Publica Cotacachi. There you'll find links to the study guide for each lesson, including the correct audio pronunciation and definitions for today's vocabulary. And you can find contact information for Apak on those pages. So Apak and I will return each week for more Kichwapi. See you next Friday. Yupay Channi.
Kaya kaman.
Gaya Kaman. Okay, Apak Perugachi offers classes and private tutoring in the Kichwa language right here in Cotacachi to people who speak at least intermediate Spanish. If you speak Spanish or Kichwa, you can contact him in Cotacachi, Ecuador at 098-085-1887. Now, if you listen carefully to the words in this next recording from Azamakuna performing Ayatunu, you will hear several of the chants we just learned on today's language lesson.
Hey,
Get to know your neighbors with total Spanish immersion. Vamos.
So welcome to Katy Estrella of the Pucara Spanish School here in Cotacachi. Thank you so much for coming in again. And today we're going to learn a little more Spanish, starting with the word I, H-A-Y-I.
Hola, Débora, ¿cómo estás?
Muy bien, gracias. ¿Y usted?
Bien, gracias. Hoy aprendemos I.
I.
¿Qué significa?
So I means there is or there are.
Exacto. Ejemplo. Hay una mosca en mi sopa.
So there is a fly in my soup. So I means there is.
Exacto. Hay una mosca en mi sopa.
Hay una mosca en mi sopa. There's a fly in my soup.
Es posible utilizar con cantidades.
So with quantities or with numbers, we use the word I. Instead of saying there is or there are, we can say I.
Exacto. Hay muchas flores en mi jardín.
So there are many flowers in my garden.
Hay muchas flores en mi jardín.
Hay muchas flores en mi jardín. Hay muchas. There are many.
Exacto, Débora. Hay dos ventanas en mi cocina.
Okay, so this means there are two windows in my kitchen. And again, we're using I to mean there are, and with a number in this case, dos, which is two. So hay dos ventanas en mi cocina.
Hay usamos con números, adverbios, pocos, varios, muchos.
Okay, so we can use I, meaning there is or there are, with numbers and also with quantities. For example, little or various or many or much or one as well.
Preguntas. ¿Dónde hay un buen restaurante?
Where is a good restaurant? Where is there a good restaurant?
Es una pregunta muy importante. ¿Dónde hay un buen restaurante?
¿Dónde hay un buen restaurante? Where is there a good restaurant?
Otra pregunta. ¿Dónde hay una farmacia?
Where is there a good pharmacy?
¿Dónde hay una farmacia?
¿Dónde hay una farmacia?
Otra pregunta. ¿Dónde hay una biblioteca?
¿Dónde hay una biblioteca? That would be, where is there a library?
Sí. ¿Dónde hay una biblioteca?
Okay, so for all of these, we have the word un or una, meaning one or a. Where is a good restaurant? Where is a pharmacy? Okay.
Vamos a repetir todo.
Okay.
Las frases. Hay una mosca en mi sopa.
Hay una mosca en mi sopa. There's a fly in my soup.
Hay muchas flores en mi jardín.
Hay muchas flores en mi jardín. There are many flowers in my garden.
Hay dos ventanas en mi cocina.
Hay dos ventanas en mi cocina. There are two windows in my kitchen.
Preguntas. ¿Dónde hay un buen restaurante?
Donde hay un buen restaurante. Where is there a good restaurant?
¿Dónde hay una farmacia?
Donde hay una farmacia. Where is there a pharmacy?
¿Dónde hay una biblioteca?
Donde hay una biblioteca. Where is there a library?
Y recuerda, hay plus números, cantidades.
Okay, so we only use I to say there is or there are when we're going to follow that with quantities such as a little, a lot, or various, or un or una, or one.
Sí. Pocos,
Pocos, very little.
varios,
Varios, which would mean various or different.
muchos o muchas.
Muchos or muchas means many. Okay, very good. Well, that was a great lesson, and I look forward to working with you again next week, where we will learn more Spanish for English speakers.
Con mucho gusto, Débora.
Con mucho gusto. Gracias. Katy Estrella is an experienced Spanish teacher with over 20 years of teaching experience in Europe and Ecuador. Her popular Pucara Spanish school is located just outside Otavalo. It's a lovely bed and breakfast inn for students who seek a full immersion Spanish language learning experience. And Katy also teaches Spanish to people of all ages at every level from beginner to advanced. And she offers Spanish lessons in her classroom at San Francisco Park in Cotacachi, Ecuador. Her number is 099-521-6673. That's Katy Estrella at 099-521-6673. Remember, you can find links to all of our teachers, interview guests, and sponsors on our Facebook group page, In Other Words. One of those sponsors is Prana Vital Energy. They offer local organic produce, nuts, wine, oils, books, and much more. They're located at the corner of 9th of October, 9 de Octubre, and Rocafuerte. And Prana invites you to browse their shop on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. So Prana is right there just across the street practically from Pandela, from Yannick's Bakery. Want to talk to you a little bit about Maki Purai. That is the Kichwa name of the Cotacachi Volunteer Center. And it's the only place in town to find centralized information about local nonprofit groups so that volunteers, donors, and organizations have a single place to meet and get to know each other. Now, most of our guests on In Other Words are the founders, directors, educators, and volunteers from these Cotacachi community nonprofit groups and projects. All of them, every project and organization is listed with a description and contact information on a single website. It's makipurai.org, MAKIPURAY.org, but there's an easy way to find it, and I'll tell you that in a minute. In any case, we hope that by providing these leaders and volunteers with interview time on this program, in other words, that local English-speaking residents will get another chance to learn more about the important work of organizations like Ami Fundación, Amichicanas, Yuyandis, A Place of Hope Soup Kitchen, Uno a Uno, Atiquambarcuna, Special Olympics, and many more. Now, the Cotacachi volunteer website would not be possible without the generous donation of Samuel Ballet. He is from Green Native. That is the name of his organization, his business, Green Native. It's all one word, GREENATIVE. He volunteered his time as a professional website designer to make this page. Now, to find out more about the Volunteer Center and information about every participating organization, you can just start with a keyword search for Cotacachi Volunteer Center while you're on Facebook. If you're not a Facebook person, go directly to makipurai.org. Again, that's MAKIPURAY.org. Or you can just click on any of the many links for the Maki Purai projects and organizations that I post on Facebook, on the In Other Words Facebook group page, or on Cotacachi Expats. Okay, so we're about to take a break for a few minutes, but we'll be right back with something to talk about. And we're going to be interviewing Apauki, Flores, and Apak Perugachi, who are local Kichwa cultural activists, and they're going to teach us much more about the celebration of IIInty Raymi here in Cotacachi.
And we're back with Deborah May on In Other Words. Listen to the special people who define Cotacachi here in Something to Talk About.
For this week's interview on In Other Words, we are going to be talking again about IIInty Raymi with my guests Apauki Flores and Apak Perugachi, with translation provided by Fred Hosea. In June, the indigenous people who live in Cotacachi celebrate IIInty Raymi, the most important festival of the year. They prepare for months in advance, talk about it for months later, and it is always present in their consciousness. So Apauki and Apak are going to discuss the local traditions of IIInty Raymi. And I think we'll get started with questions about the clothing that's worn, the different hats that are worn, the military jackets, and other symbols that are very visible and present during the Hatun Punja, the day that the men are taking the square.
Para dar una explicación a esto tendríamos que analizar, digamos, la historia.
So to do this, we have to have a historical perspective.
Hay un libro muy interesante que se llama Waruchiri.
There's a book that's very interesting called Waruchiri.
Y hay otro, digamos, la última memoria que tal vez se pudo escribir, es el libro Guamán Poma de Ayala. En estos dos explica claramente cómo en estas festividades se vestían de pieles de animales. En el Waruchiri explica muy bien, habla sobre la mitología del jaguar, y en el libro de Guamán Poma también habla cómo los danzantes guerreros se vestían con la piel de jaguar, la piel del puma mismo, que eran animales sagrados mitológicos.
So those books mention the tradition in earlier history of dressing up in jaguar and puma skins.
Nuestra cultura no es una cultura estática, es una cultura dinámica.
So our culture is not a static one, it's dynamic.
Pero ciertos, digamos, símbolos, la semiótica, se conserva, como es el zamarro. Es lo que ahorita no hay pumas o no hay jaguar, o no hay la piel de esos, pero se puede de alguna manera representar con el zamarro, que es la piel del chivo, o la piel de alpaca, o la de la llama.
Nowadays, they dress up wearing chaps, which can be from goats, de chivo.
De alpaca o de llama también, si es posible.
De llamas.
Como es una danza guerrera, en estos libros explica muy bien, digamos, estos relatos, comentarios, cómo se vestían de pieles. Es la misma representación.
It's a warrior dance, and the wearing of these animal chaps is part of that warrior tradition.
Bueno, en los últimos tiempos ya, digamos, se ha introducido nuevas formas de vestir, como de los militares. La mayoría de los jóvenes de las comunidades van al servicio militar, y con ello traen la ropa, y esta parte de el militarismo también tiene que ver con la política, con todo eso. Entonces, como romper o fractura eso.
The military clothing happens because a lot of young people go into the military and then they bring back some of that military clothing with them. But the military clothing also represents militarism in a negative sense, that they, by wearing it, in a sense, they are breaking the symbol.
En este caso, hablando de la vestimenta, ¿no? Mi papá me dice siempre que mi abuelito, él viajaba un poco a Colombia y él traía, digamos, la mejor camisa, ¿no? Dice una camisa de pana. Es que una tela fina, ¿no? Negra, de la comunidad de la Calera. Entonces él decía que se ponía lo mejor, ¿no? Se ponía un nuevo zamarro, una nueva camisa cada año.
His father and grandfather talked about going to Colombia to get finely woven, fine cloth shirts that they would wear along with their chaps, the zamarros.
Sí, pero ahora no, como manifestaba Apak. Ahora en este caso es una transposición, ¿no? En algún momento el poder político, el poder militar, el poder religioso de alguna manera agredió la cultura, en este momento es como que asumimos el poder, ¿no es cierto? Quien lo tiene en un estado es los militares, ¿no? Entonces, como es una celebración de poder, también queremos asumir, ¿no? Personajes que de alguna manera tienen el poder.
So this is a way, as I mentioned earlier, of taking back power symbolically. So both political power, repudiating the military control that existed in the past, and assuming the power themselves through the wearing of the clothing or the different symbols.
Entonces, así como nosotros nos tomamos, ¿no? el poder político, el poder religioso, asimismo nos tomamos de una manera con una vestimenta especial, ¿no? Entonces eso.
So the clothing becomes a way of taking back military, or taking back political and religious power.
Okay, and the hat, very interesting, very different. Some are tall, some have symbols on them.
En la actualidad también hay que hablar mucho de la educación cultural que se transmite, digamos, en la familia, en la comunidad, en el ayllu. Se ha perdido de alguna manera ciertos, digamos, códigos, y tal vez por la globalización hay nuevos códigos, nuevos símbolos que seguramente, no sé, los chicos vieron en la televisión o algún símbolo de poder que les llamó. Entonces, también hemos visto en los sombreros.
With the growing influence of globalization, there are more and more symbols that are available to the community and families and children for them to incorporate into their representations.
Y también el sombrero, digamos, conversaba con un chico por qué se pone el sombrero de cartón muy grande. Es porque justamente la economía interna de las comunidades estamos como, digamos, decayendo, se podría decir. Entonces, a veces no hay la posibilidad para comprar un sombrero como los que ponemos, cuesta mucho. Entonces, hacer un sombrero de cartón es a veces un poco más económico también.
So there's an economic reason for having hats made out of cardboard. Many families simply can't afford to have an actual hat.
The taller hats were related to coming from the high zones, and the shorter hats were related to coming from the low zone. Is that as a form of identification?
Yeah. De alguna manera se puede ver cuando bajan de las comunidades altas, siempre tienen la copa un poco más grande. Sí es un símbolo de distinción. Y las comunidades más bajas, como Calera, utilizan la copa del sombrero un poco más. Sí, es una gran distinción.
Sí, en esta parte, ¿no? Conversando así mismo con otros compañeros, ¿no? Vemos, ¿no es cierto?, que algunos compañeros de algunas comunidades vienen como rotas, ¿no? Las camisas. Sí, entonces eso decíamos, ¿no? Que antes salíamos como más elegantes, ¿no? Y ahora parece que salimos con un poquito menos elegantes a bailar.
He was saying that there's a difference now where people come to these festivals in a more shabby attire. That it used to be a time for dressing up, and now things are a little bit more raggedy.
No creo que sea la pobreza, ¿no? Creo que es un lenguaje, ¿no? Es un lenguaje paraverbal, ¿no? Sí, es una muestra de simbolismo, ¿no? De la celebración.
Why are the dances gender and age segregated? You addressed this a little bit in a previous segment.
Ya, por edad, ¿no? Primero vamos a ver por edad. Hablamos de los niños, ¿no? Fui a una reunión, me dijeron que era el 22 de junio. Bueno, esta es una iniciativa, ¿no es cierto?, de las organizaciones, sobre todo de UNORCAD, un poco para motivar a los niños, ¿no?, que hay que celebrar en paz esto, ¿no?
So this is an effort on the part of UNORCAD to help socialize children into the celebrations and to help intervene in some of the violent practices that have occurred in the past, just to help change that. So the kids start off by, in a sense, setting the tone at the beginning.
Entonces no es una división, ¿no? Sino más bien es un proceso de concientización.
So it's not really a division, it's more a process of developing conscience in the children.
Digamos que también los días donde los adultos bailamos también nos acompañan nuestros niños, ¿no? En el caso de la calera, ¿no es cierto? Los niños están bailando al frente de los adultos.
Yeah, and depending upon the community, the children also accompany the adults.
Claro, y entonces para que se complemente, ¿no? Como la dualidad, ¿no? Para que se complemente en este caso la celebración con los 4 días de los hombres, también hay un día, ¿no? Dedicado a la mujer. Este es un complemento, ¿no?
So the day of the women at the end is a complement to the 4 days that the men take plaza.
Aunque he visto estos últimos años que hay muchas chicas jóvenes que ahora están bailando con los adultos. Antes no veía mucho eso yo.
So now you see young women dancing with the adults. They may have started off as children, and then now they're dancing as adults, and you would not have seen that before.
I've always wondered how the dancers feel about being joined by tourists, about women, foreigners, for example, dancing with the men during the men's days, about basically having people from outside the Kichwa communities joining your dance. How do you feel about that? Are they welcome? Are they tolerated?
Para nosotros, digamos, en este caso de las mujeres o, digamos, hablemos de género, también es un día, digamos, una celebración especial que de alguna manera se ha roto esa barrera. Digamos, en el caso de las comunidades, yo he visto en mi comunidad también que los hombres se visten de mujeres.
Tradition has been broken somewhat, that sometimes now you see on Women's Day, you'll see men dressing up as women and dancing with the women.
En esta, digamos, esta celebración, todas las familias vienen, incluso las familias que están, digamos, que emigran a otras ciudades, a otros países, y en eso, o sea, representarte como con la vestimenta de mujeres, o sea, rompe varios mitos, varios, digamos, tabús.
It's now more common to have breaking of taboos. The tradition itself, the sort of monolithic character, is no longer monolithic because you have people marrying other traditions, other families, other mestizos, and so it's becoming more inclusive.
En esto, digamos, las mujeres en estos tiempos, como decía Apauki, se están empoderando mucho más y para nosotros, digamos, para la nueva generación, es bienvenida. No es que simplemente toleramos, sino que es parte de nuestra cultura.
So the empowerment of women is something that's definitely happening and it's very welcome. It's not something that we are opposing.
La otra parte de los extranjeros, a nosotros, yo como Kichwa y también como dirigente de una comunidad y músico de esta gran fiesta, me gustaría mucho invitarles a que sientan, a que vivan, que vengan a las comunidades, que se den el tiempo para entender qué es lo que van a hacer.
As a musician and as a community leader, he wants to invite people to experience these feelings, these dances, the music, and not to feel excluded.
Just a little on the logistics. I know last year there were some incidents that seemed to be related to when communities entered the square and left the square. So how do communities decide who will enter the square at what times and who will leave it?
¿Cómo es que se deciden las comunidades quién entrará en la plaza y cuándo? Aparentemente el año pasado tenía como desacuerdos de quién va a entrar y quién va a salir y cuándo.
Bueno, esto es por tradición, ¿no?
This is a tradition.
Digamos que hay en un territorio hay 2 espacios, ¿no? En este caso, el espacio de las comunidades altas y el segundo espacio es de las comunidades bajas, ¿no? Entonces,
So there are basically 2 territorial distinctions here of the upper hillside communities and the lower flatland communities.
obviamente no puede haber un mismo momento para que los 2 espacios, los altos y los bajos, bailen en el mismo momento, ¿no? Porque así lo hacen también físicamente, el espacio no va a alcanzar. Sí.
Because of this spatial difference between the upper and lower communities, they don't dance at the same place at the same time. And moreover, there wouldn't be enough space for them to do it anyway.
Sí, hace unos 20, 30 años no había horarios.
20 or 30 years ago, there were no schedules.
Es de un par de décadas acá que ya se hizo horarios para que no se hagan enfrentamientos
So
y
it's only recently that they've been arranging things so that they're not confrontations.
esto ya se lo realiza en reuniones previas, ¿no?
So they meet beforehand.
Ya se organizan los horarios, los cabildos y los capitanes.
The cabildos, community leaders, and the captains of the dance groups meet beforehand to arrange a schedule.
So all together, all of the communities meet together and agree on a schedule?
¿Se juntan todos de una vez?
Sí, el año anterior yo asistí a una reunión y estuvieron todos los cabildos y todos los capitanes, más o menos unas 100 personas, ¿no?
Yeah, so last year he attended a meeting where there were about 100 people. So it was all the cabildos and the group captains.
Con una particularidad de que todas las comunidades altas salen 2 veces. Sí, y las comunidades bajas salimos 3 veces.
So there's a difference. The upper communities come down twice, and the lower communities come out 3 times.
I know last year there was an incidence of violence that was upsetting for everyone, and community leaders, captains, cabildos met to discuss the prevention of violence at future IIInty Raymi celebrations. So what was decided at that meeting, and how will it change this year's celebration?
El año pasado hubo varios actos de violencia, en especial uno que fue muy malo, y ese afectó mucha gente, ¿no? Y sabemos que los líderes comunitarios se reunieron para discutir la prevención de violencia en las futuras celebraciones de IIInty Raymi. ¿Qué decidieron en esa reunión y cómo eso va a cambiar la celebración este año?
Sí, estuve revisando, ¿no? la reunión y las resoluciones que se habían realizado.
Yeah, I've been reviewing the resolutions and notes that came out of that meeting.
Debido al enfrentamiento, ¿no? Sí, fue un compañero de la comunidad calera. Justamente ese día yo estuve compartiendo todo el día con él.
So he was taking part that whole day with his friend from Calera.
Este año me llamó mucho la atención, ¿no? Porque debido a este enfrentamiento, ¿no? que hubo, creo que fue el detonante para que de alguna manera hiciéramos algunas nuevas estrategias.
Yeah, it was a spark that really has caused us to think about new strategies.
Sí, para evitar el enfrentamiento, ¿no?
To avoid these confrontations.
Sí, veo que aquí se han cumplido algunas, ¿no? Algunas sí se han cumplido las resoluciones y otras no se han cumplido,
some
¿no?
of the things that were agreed upon have been put into practice and others have not.
Por ejemplo, nosotros, como la comunidad de La Calera, salimos, ¿no? sin haciales.
So from La Calera, there was an agreement to go out without the whips, or it was one of the things that are sometimes carried into the march.
Sí,
So they decided to not carry the whips.
creo que ese es un paso muy importante, ¿no? Que me llamó la atención.
It was a very important decision that got my attention.
Porque personalmente yo estoy bailando unos 8 años, ¿no?
I've been dancing 8 years.
Sí, y creo que este es el inicio de algunas cosas nuevas que se vienen, ¿no? Durante la celebración.
So this is just one of the changes.
Por ejemplo, sí, otras comunidades, ¿no? Sí, bueno, ellos bajaron, ¿no? a la ciudad, pero sus esposas, antes que salgan a la comunidad, ya cogieron los haciales, ¿no? Y vinieron por otro camino, ¿no? Y entregaron aquí cuando ya vinieron acá.
So in other communities, the wives took away the whips, and the wives gave the whips, so the men would arrive without the whips, but then the wives would give them to them. So this is an example of something like was supposedly an agreement that was kind of worked around.
Sí, con esto termino. Esperemos, ¿no? Que no salir con haciales, porque hace 8 o 10 años también ya salimos sin haciales. Sí.
So we're hoping to change this so that everybody goes out without the whips.
Pero asimismo otras comunidades no cumplieron y ahí hubo de nuevo un enfrentamiento.
Yeah. So, but other communities don't always go along with the agreement.
Just want to give people the dates for IIInty Raymi. The 22nd will be the children's dance. The 24th and 25th, the men will be dancing in the square, Matriz Square, that's right in front of the church at Matriz. Then the men rest for 2 days and return the 29th and 30th. The men will return to the square. And then on July 1st, the women dance. Is that correct?
El 28 en la noche.
Oh, they start dancing on the night of the 28th.
Okay.
El 28, pero en la noche. Aquí.
There are always a lot of people, spectators watching the dancing. Often there's a strong police presence there. It's a very interesting event. The energy is truly amazing. If you've missed it in the past, be sure to come down. So I just want to give an opportunity for Apauki and Apak to talk a little bit about the work that they're doing and how listeners can support that work. They're both amazing young men who are doing very important things in terms of culture and education for the Kichwa people. So Apauki, can you start?
Okay. Es otra oportunidad para describir su trabajo con Yuyandes.
Sí necesitan, por ejemplo, un abogado, ¿no? Necesitan un abogado, necesitan un arquitecto, necesitan tal vez, tienen algún proyecto de agricultura, un proyecto de turismo.
So, for example, if you need an architect, a lawyer, an agricultural or tourism consultant, these are just some of the talents that they have in the Yuyandes Service Collective.
Sí, eso, ¿no? Y podemos también, si que quieren apoyar como un voluntariado, pueden hacerlo.
If you want to support as a volunteer, Tommy, that's also very welcome. Yuyandes is an association of young indigenous professionals.
Okay, and Yuyandes is a member organization of Makipurai, which is the Cotacachi Volunteer Center, and you can go to makipurai.org, or it's easier for English speakers to just go to Cotacachi Volunteer Center, the Facebook group page there, and you'll get direct contact information. I also provide translation if you don't speak Spanish and you need someone to translate. Either I can translate or I'll pull in someone like Fred to help us out so that communication can happen. Apak, can you tell us a little bit about your work?
De igual manera, si están interesados en aprender la lengua quichua, la cosmovisión, o incluso, digamos, jóvenes familias quichuas que quieren, no sé, perfeccionar su lengua para escribir, hablar, o para medios de comunicación, entonces tenemos la organización Tinkunakui, o como mi persona, Apak Perugachi, como profesor de quichua, y también...
As a member of the group Tinkunakui, he's a Kichwa professor. He teaches the language, the Kichwa cosmovision, with a focus now on children.
Y también como la comunidad Morales Chupa, si ustedes desean apoyar tanto como persona, también necesitamos algo de materiales para niños o para económicamente para este proyecto que se dé, el proyecto Atiwambracuna, están bienvenidos y conocer la comunidad también.
He also invites you to come and get to know the community, the Morales Chupa community, and they welcome any donations of money or materials for the classes for teaching children.
También compartirnos de que somos profesionales, pero no somos ricos, ¿no? Sí, porque...
So we want to make a point that we are professionals, but we're not rich.
Sí, porque si fuésemos ricos no hubiésemos creado Yuyandes, ¿no?
If we were rich, we wouldn't have created Yuyandes.
So I know that Apak's project, Atiwambracuna, is listed on the Makipurai page, and you can contact him if you're interested in making donations, giving material support, or volunteering. Also, Apak does teach Kichwa to Spanish speakers, not to English speakers, but to Spanish speakers. Well, you can speak both if you want, but you have to at least have the Spanish. So, Apak, can you give your phone number for Spanish speakers?
Bueno, soy Apak Perugachi. Pueden contactarse al 098-085-1887 o también al correo electrónico apakperugachi@gmail.com.
So I have had the pleasure of having Apak as my Kichwa teacher for several months. So he's really amazing. He also mentioned earlier the Huaro Chiri. I read that book. It is an amazing introduction to the Andean cosmovision. It's just mind-blowing. Highly recommend it. That's HUARO CHIRI. If you have an interest in learning more about the culture, that's a book you'll want to read. Okay, so we'll be back next week with your questions that the expat community has posed about IIInty Raymi. So please be sure to join us next week at the same time. And thank you to Apauki. Thank you, Fred, for translating. Thank you, Apak.
You are listening to In Other Words.
So next week, we'll air the final segment of our IIInty Raymi interviews with Apak and Apauki. Those were pre-recorded because the guys will be dancing with their community in Matri Square on June 29th at 4 o'clock. Thank you for listening this week to another episode of In Other Words. If you want to get in touch with any of our language teachers, interview guests, or sponsors from In Other Words, you can join our Facebook group of the same name. In other words, we'll talk to you next Friday at 4. Hasta viernes, Jaska punja kama. Thank you, gracias, and yupaichani mashikuna.
Thank you for listening to our program. In other words, we'll see you again next Friday at the same time, 4 p.m. on Radio Publica Cotacachi.
Fill my heart with song.